Hello.
Marty, hi, how are you doing? This is Rustin Rose with Metalholic and Metal Wani.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I think you were expecting Oasis, but he asked me if I could fill in tonight, and I said, of course. It's been 25 years since I talked to Marty, so...
Oh, when did we speak last?
The last time you and I spoke, man, takes me back a quarter century. You were one of the first interviews I ever did back in 1990. The beginning of the infamous bathwater drinking question. So...
Oh, what was that?
Oh, it was, I think you had done like a long string of interviews when you kept getting asked all the same questions. And of course I was new back then anyway. And I was like, well, what do you want me to ask you? And you're like, ask me whose bathwater I'd most like to drink.
You know, I totally believe you. And who did I say?
Of course, Emerald Yay.
Oh my God. Fantastic.
Yeah, so every once in a while I pop that question out when I'm interviewing somebody, and I did it with Machine Head a couple years ago, and everybody in the room instantly turned around and went, I remember that interview.
And whose bathwater did they want to drink?
You know, I don't remember who they said. Yours was the memorable one, so it's the only one that sticks with me. But anyway...
And the offer still stands in case Emerald's listening.
So much has happened with you since then. Congratulations on your vast success over in Japan.
Thank you very much.
So, I want to ask you a little bit about that in a moment, but I'm only going to steal you for a few minutes tonight. So let's talk about Inferno. It was fantastic to hear the new album Inferno last year, and exciting that you're returning to tour here in the U.S. after 12 years? And I know you've done 100+ interviews about the new record, but if you don't mind, maybe you could share, say, a Reader's Digest version of the journey that led to creating Inferno and what the record has meant to you now that you've had some time to live with it and sort of absorb its impact.
Sure. The record came out strictly as an idea from Prosthetic Records. I was doing my thing in Japan, completely content, completely engulfed in my Japanese work for several years, and it just came to the point where I was so busy with things in Japan that I just never even considered doing anything outside of Japan. And not that I didn't want to, it was just never, first of all, there was never enough time, and then another thing, there was just never, didn't seem like there would be any interest anyway, so it was just not even an issue until I got this offer from Prosthetic, and they said, there's a lot of great new bands out there, and great, really heavy bands with great guitarists, and a lot of them seem to be citing you as an influence, and guitar is kind of really popular now, and people are listening back to your stuff that you did in America and really praising it high, and if there was ever a time to think about doing something in America, now would be a good time because there's interest in what you're doing and what you've done, and so I took them seriously, and they came to Japan to have a meeting with my record company here, which showed real honesty in their intent to do it. And so I started to get excited about it, and we released 5 albums we reissued for the American market, right. 5 albums that had only been released in Japan, and they went really well. So we decided to do a simultaneous worldwide brand new original release with Inferno, and I took a solid 18 months to do that, and I thought, really honestly, what does everybody outside of Japan want me to do? What do they want to hear? And came to the realization that they just wanted me to go apeshit and be batshit crazy and make some insane music with guitar way out there in the front of it, and that's what I did, and beyond my belief, the response to Inferno has just been fantastic. I expected nothing, and I got just wonderful, wonderful response, and from the most unexpected places. I mean, places like Rolling Stone and Billboard and Grammy.com, and they were all giving me love on this record when they all but ignored me for my entire career. And so just a lot of unexpected, really good news came from it. And then the offer for a tour came, and I'm like, I've got to make it work. I've got to make the time to make it work. And here we are with the tour becoming a reality in September.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm disappointed you're not coming to my neck of the woods, but I'm hoping I can venture out and catch you somewhere and everything. Now, and on this tour, you're playing for about a full solid month. out there.
Right.
Now, I'm assuming the vast majority, if not all of it, is going to be Inferno, but are you mixing in some of the stuff that you've been doing while you've been in Japan from some of those albums? You know, any of the stuff you did early on in your career? What's a set list going to look like? I mean, that must have been fun putting it together.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun because I've never done this before in America, so I don't know what people will respond to, and it's totally blind, so I have to go completely on the merit of how the show is going to be exciting from the beginning to the end. And so I've got 12 solo albums, and there's a lot of stuff on there that, has never been played live anywhere, much less played live in America, so I'm busting out a bunch of that. And I'm, of course, doing a lot of Inferno, not only because it's the newest album, but it just seems to be the stuff that is translated just so well live, when I toured Europe and when I've toured Japan. And the stuff just translates. And but I've got a lot of stuff to hit on, a lot of stuff that people expect me to play for my solo career, and a lot of unexpected stuff. But the main focus is just the whole sweaty experience of the whole band. It's not just going to be me wanking for 90 or 100 minutes.
Right.
It's really, you're going to be blown away by my band, and it'll be easy to take your attention off of me because these guys are off the hook. So just kind of something that you wouldn't expect coming all the way from Japan to America, and with a lot of strange experiences to draw on. It's just going to be a unique and fun evening, hopefully.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it. Is Prosthetic thinking about filming a DVD of all this? Because you've been touring all over the place, as you said, South America, Europe, Japan.
Well, it will be filmed, but actually not for a DVD per se. We've been doing a documentary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's documenting kind of my story between me and Japan, and the whole strange story that is, and they've been filming since January on that, and it'll probably be another year and a half or so of filming just everything that goes on, and the director's really excited about getting this U.S. tour filmed because nobody knows how it's going to go, and nobody really knows what the American people think, so we want to get a lot of good fan footage and fan opinions, and a lot of the tour is going to be filmed for that. But that's just kind of a sidebar. I'm just in there. I'm just going there to kick some ass.
Right. Well, and I've always been curious about how you initially developed your love for Japanese music.
It's a strange thing. I come to Japan so many times on tour, and every time I would notice that in Japan they rarely listen to non-Japanese music here. Maybe 20% of what gets sold here is international, and the rest is all domestic Japanese music. So every time I'd be in Japan, I'd be surrounded by Japanese music, and it would really kind of like stick in my ear, and it really appealed to me. And it came to a point where I was just listening to it all the time, and I had to, I just had to be here where that music was being made, and contribute to the domestic music scene here and be a part of that rather than just come once or twice a year as a touring musician.
Right. And you've been involved in so many different facets of music and just the whole entertainment industry and everything over there. And it's funny, so many great things are coming out of Japan now. We're starting to get more of it in America. Obviously, Babymetal was huge over the last year or two, but there's just, here in America, they seem to struggle with that so much. When we did our annual polls this year, the best albums, and we put the voting in, Babymetal fans were just pounding away at the votes, and everybody was like, no, this sucks. And it's like, why do you think Americans struggle so much with acts like a Babymetal or the band that you'd been working with?
Well, I think the best thing about Babymetal is the fact that it's very polarizing. You have to either absolutely love them or you totally hate them. And I think that's the mark of great things. Of course, I love them and have supported them since the beginning. The the guitarist in my solo band over here is also the guitarist in Babymetal.
Right.
So I definitely am a huge supporter of them, and I think they're a fantastic, fantastic unit. And but like I could totally see like a metal purist go, "Hey, this is not right. This is not what metal is supposed to be. I can't stand it. It's not. It's just no way, no fucking way." I totally get it. But that's what I also love about them. I mean, it breaks a lot of rules, and I'm all about breaking rules. I mean, if you've seen some of the stuff I've done in Japan, I've injected my own metal into very, very pop situations,
right,
where metal shouldn't go, but because it's me and because it's the way I did it, it worked and it happened and it existed. So I kind of forced it. And I think that spirit is very metal, but there are a lot of purists out there, especially in America, who look at that and just go, no fucking way. And I totally get it. I don't have a single thing against these people, but that's what I love about Babymetal. It's very polarizing. And I think that my whole musical concept is also very polarizing. But I can tell you that it's just the way I am as an artist, and you really can't go out there trying to please anyone other than yourself. And if people want to join the party, it's great, and you love them when they do, but I certainly don't think any less of people who disagree with my opinion.
Well, based on the myriad of endeavors you've embarked on over the years, it's clear you like constant change and challenge. So how do you constantly push your growth and reinvention, if you will?
It just comes naturally by doing things that are not necessarily what people expect of you and seem a little bit outside the box. Just by doing those things, you grow automatically because of the things that you have to suddenly adapt to. There's no better way to grow than to throw yourself into a completely alien situation. And then to do it all of the time, your brain is just in a constant state of stretching. And I think that's the only way I can explain my playing. I mean, I really only recently become relatively happy with the way I play, especially on the last few albums. And I can only attribute that to putting myself into a lot of unusual musical situations and unusual non-musical situations. So when I sit down to play or to write or to record or to play live, just more interesting things seem to flow through me than maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And I can really only attribute that to having interesting challenges that are really kind of fucking me up, because you got to come to the party immediately with something that is not a crutch. And it worked for me. I mean, it's done really well for me.
All right. So last question before we get out of here. You have so many irons in the fire in Japan, but Inferno has done so well. How will you sort of balance the life you've built with the reemergence of some of your old life on some level?
Good question. I can only do it a little at a time. And taking 1 month and going to America for touring is a big step. I've made little mini tours before. I did maybe a 2-week run a long time ago in America, and I've done maybe a month or so at a time, 4 or 5 times in Europe and South America. That's the way it's going to have to be. I mean, because like you said, there are a lot of irons in the fire in Japan and a lot of weekly commitments and monthly commitments that don't really allow me to go on the road for, say, a year at a time. But, especially if this tour goes well, I plan to take these monthly trips and do more of them and hit not bigger, but more different cities. I'm only playing in 21 cities in America, which is relatively small, but I really want to get everywhere. So a lot of that depends on, how the fans enjoy this tour and how the promoters feel after the tour's done. Because as far as I'm concerned, I really want to do it, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, we're excited to see you alive again after all these years. Marty Friedman, the new album Inferno out last year, one of the best of 2014, bringing it to the States for the stage, bringing it to life, and we look forward to seeing your band too. I'm excited for that as well. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to catch up with us.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you again. Hope next time it won't be so long.